Good Friday evening. We have finally made it to the end of the week, and it's nice ending up the week on this dry pattern. We're not dealing with any type of rain or anything out there, and we're looking to still have a rain-free weekend. However, as we've been saying all week long, when we're ready to celebrate the end of the rain chances, we have to be aware for what is next, and that is going to be hotter temperatures on the way. And we're going to be watching those temperatures rising during the weekend, but it's only going to get hotter going into next week. So I want to make sure you are aware that we have issued an 11 Alive weather impact alert for multiple days next week. This is going to be Tuesday through Friday next week when we see high heat and humidity mixing together to give us, number one, really hot temperatures at 95 or above, and with the humidity, it's going to make it feel like it's 100 or above. So we want you just to be prepared for that next week, as it's going to be even hotter on these days than what we're going to be experiencing here for the weekend, and even that is going to be pretty hot out there. So what we want you to do is just to realize that yes, we know it gets hot here in Atlanta. We know that we can have mid-90s and heat index levels that are above 100. However, this is the first heat wave that we're seeing here for the season, and our bodies really aren't acclimated yet for that. So we want everybody to be prepared for this heat, and just know that this weekend it is going to start building. Even though we don't have a weather impact alert for Saturday and Sunday, it is going to be getting hotter. We're talking about 93 for Saturday, 94 for Sunday, 92 to 93 to 94 here throughout the weekend. And then getting into Tuesday, that's when the actual temperatures will get to 95 or above. And then, of course, a little more humidity building in. It's going to make it feel a lot hotter. And your body has to work harder to cool itself down by producing more sweat. And if it's humid, that sweat evaporation is inhibited a little bit, so your body keeps producing more and more sweat, and then you can get dehydrated. So make sure that you stay hydrated. Limit your time outdoors. Just take some breaks. Jump in a pool, jump in a lake, go inside, get some air conditioning, cool off, get out of the direct sunlight, get in the shade, and don't overexert yourself, as again, your body's just not quite acclimated to these temperatures that are moving up like we're expecting. Now, we also monitor the heat risk maps that the National Weather Service has been putting out. And on those days, we're going to see some major to even extreme heat impacts. Now, they've updated this one. Earlier for Tuesday, we did have a big area of purple on here indicating extreme potential impacts. The red indicates major, but we do have the purple for Wednesday as well as on Thursday, as we are going to see those really hot temperatures that are going to be with us throughout that period. So that's why beginning Tuesday through Friday, we have that 11 Alive weather impact alert that is going to be in effect. The other thing that times out perfectly with all this hot air moving in is that we're about to have the summer solstice. In a little bit more than an hour, we will see the summer solstice officially at 10:42 tonight. Now, that is the start of astronomical summer. Now, as meteorologists, we look at meteorological summer as June 1st through September 1st. We kind of evens it out. We think of winter as being December 1st through the end of February. Then spring is March through the beginning of June, and then summer would be June through the beginning of September, and then the fall would be September through the beginning of December. And so that's how we look at it meteorologically, but astronomically, the solstice actually happens tonight, and that is the official start of summer. That's going to happen at 10:42. You're really not going to see anything. You're really not going to feel anything. But what happens is this is going to really line up for the first official weekend of summer as being a really hot weekend out there with those temperatures going into the 90s. Now, I want to show you what we're watching with the actual temperatures versus what we think the heat index is going to be. So we're forecasting a high of 92 for Saturday, and with the humidity, it's going to feel like it's 94. On Sunday, we're forecasting a high of 93. With the heat index, it's going to feel like 94. And then on Monday, we are forecasting 94, but it's going to feel like 95. It's going to be during the week, though, again, Tuesday through Friday, with those temperatures getting even hotter. mixing that with the humidity, that's when we think those I keep wanting to say wind chill, the heat index values are going to be higher than 100 degrees. Now, the National Weather Service would issue a heat advisory if those heat index levels get above 105. And it's too early for them to issue anything yet, but we're just going ahead and issuing this weather impact alert. We want everybody to be prepared and get ready for the really hot air that's coming in for next week for this first heat wave of the season. We are dry out there right now. We don't have any rain moving through our area, and we really don't expect anything for the weekend. We're going with a less than 20% chance for an isolated shower here for this weekend. I really think most of us will stay dry. There could be just a little cell that pops up here and there, but not really widespread at all. You can see a few of those showers that we were watching back in parts of Mississippi and into Alabama. Very isolated, and those are diminishing now during the evening hours. We just still have that flow coming in from the west and northwest, which is a drier air mass, and we're enjoying, again, not only being rain-free, but also the humidity levels have been a little bit lower. It just hasn't been as muggy or as oppressive out there. Take a look at this. I want to put this up full screen for you so you can see this beautiful view from our Arizona Avenue camera. This is as the sun just went down just a few minutes ago, and I just shared this shot on my social media, on Facebook and on Twitter or X here, as the sun was just going down right there, and just said it was a beautiful way to end up the work week. And this is a really nice view here, as we of course have a beautiful city, and then we're also looking at those nice colors there along the horizon with just a few of those clouds that are out there. Our temperature today did get up to 90 degrees. That was our high. The average high for this time of year is 88, so we were 2 degrees above the average. Our low this morning, with those lower dew points and that drier air in place, we actually dipped in to the upper 60s at 68 degrees, which is a couple of degrees below the average. And I'd have to say it did feel a little more refreshing out there. This is what we were telling you about last night, that when you step out in the morning today, that you would notice that it just wasn't quite as muggy out there. And I think it's going to be pretty similar in the morning. I do think we'll be there in the lower 70s for a low, but still that humidity level is on the lower end. Now, here's the other thing I want you to see. 0 rain today. No rain in our area, and so that rainfall surplus drops just a little bit. We're about 1.38 inches above where we should be in rainfall for the year. Now, here's a look at that map. I'm updating this again from last night. We've been talking about this every night this week, how almost every day this month we have at least had some measurable rain. Now, we went through the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd with no rain, and then starting on the 4th of June, that's when we started picking up that measurable rain, and it rained every day from the 4th through the 14th. We had a little break for Father's Day where we didn't get any measurable rain at Hartsfield-Jackson on Father's Day, and then back to a trace on Monday, and then you can see these rain amounts going up this week. But today, 0 rain. So that kind of helps us there end that streak, and we will see, it looks like a couple of other dry days here for Saturday and Sunday too. Right now, temperatures are still pretty much on the mild side. We're holding in the 80s at 83 degrees. Duluth is also 83, 82 in Marietta, 81 in Athens, Canton's 80, but all the other cities are in the 70s. And with the mainly clear skies, and again, those lower dew points, a little bit of that drier air, we do see some areas that are cooling off a little bit quicker. Peachtree City right now, 74 degrees. That feels actually pretty good. Here's a look at the temperatures through the day. We started off there at 68. That was at 5, 6, and 7 this morning. Then once the sun came up, look, you see what happened there. Those temperatures started rising, and we did hit 90 in between these hourlies right here. Between 4 and 5 is when we got up to 90 degrees for that high temperature, and then we held at 88 at 6 and 7. Now 85 at 8, and now 83 at 9 o'clock as those temperatures are starting to come down. And again, we'll be cooling off a little bit more into the lower 70s, we think, in the morning, maybe some upper 60s in the outlying areas. And then during the day, 78 at 9, 84 at 11. We're up to 90 by 3 o'clock, then going up to 92 for our high temperature in the afternoon with a good bit of sunshine, just a couple of clouds that'll be mixing in off and on during the day. So here's a look at the forecast track. Now, I want to show you something on the forecast track, a couple of things here. You know, the past couple of days, we've been talking about those arrows. Instead of coming out of the south, picking up all that Gulf moisture and spreading it our way with all that humidity and tropical moisture and heating and showers and storms developing. These arrows still are more coming out of the north and west, and that's that drier air that we're seeing to push in here. Now, I want you to notice a couple of things here. We've been talking about being pretty much rain-free through the weekend. This model is trying to pick up a couple little spots where there might be an isolated shower. We are still thinking it's less than a 20% chance for a shower here on Saturday. Again, it's not out of the question. There might be one or two little pop-ups that can develop. When you see temperatures warming up into these, low and mid 90s, and even a little bit of humidity, it could bubble up a little shower. But again, nothing widespread at all. Most of us will be dry. Pretty much the same thing on Sunday. The model's trying once again, right there, to build up a little bit, but I really think most of us will stay dry. For the most part, still that less than 20% chance for a shower. And then going into Monday, pretty much the same old thing there. This is the thing I want you to see. The moisture map shows the blue color indicating the drier air that is moving in. You can see that on the scale. As you get to the blue colors, it gets to the dry. And where you have the yellows and greens there, and then the oranges and even the reds, that's when we get up to a lot of moist air or tropical air. And that's what we see there along the Gulf of Mexico. There more of that Gulf moisture that's there. But the blue color that you see here, that is the drier air that is in place. And that drier air started moving in late last night, and it's been with us today, keeping us rain-free and giving us that nicer feel to the air. Well, the blue color stays here with us during the day tomorrow with that dry air in place and lower humidities around. Notice that once we get into Sunday, still dry. Into Monday, maybe a little bit more of the yellows or lighter colors starting to come in, indicating a little more moisture that's going to start pushing our way. And that's mainly going to be in the form of the relative humidity starting to rise back up just a little bit more. But still, we're not expecting any rain chances. Tuesday, pretty much the same thing, just becoming a little more humid. Wednesday, still less than a 20% chance for a shower. But once we get into Thursday and Friday, that's when a little bit more of that moisture starts moving in. And remember, those high temperatures in the mid 90s, that will help a few of those parcels of moist air to lift and potentially cause some of those scattered showers that could be popping up during the day. But take a look at this. I know this doesn't show anything, but that's the reason why I want to show this to you, because we have been watching this graphic and the bar graph showing all these rain chances for days and days and days. This is showing 5 days without any real big rain chances. We're saying less than a 20% chance for a shower. And again, the dew points here that you're seeing, that's the actual measure of how much moisture is in the atmosphere. When you've got dew points in the 70s, which is what we had last week, where it was just that muggy air mass and very oppressive feeling to the air. Well, now we're seeing the dew points falling into the 60s. Still humid, not comfortable, but still humid out there, but it's also not oppressive. So that gives us that little better feel to the air out there. We'll see these dew points kind of hovering there in the mid 60s, maybe in the upper 60s to near 70 through the rest of the week. Now, I want you to be ready for the heat dome that's coming in. It's already hot out there now, but we have some much hotter air out to the west with that area of high pressure. That's all going to start pushing closer to us, and it spreads out over us through the weekend into Monday, and then it stays with us going into a big part of next week. And that's why we have that 11 Alive weather impact alert in effect for that time frame. And here is how that's going to impact those temperatures, where we see 92 Saturday, 93 Sunday, 94 on Monday. As we get up above 95 there, where it's 96 and 97, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then into the end of the week, that's why we have issued that 11 Alive weather impact alert. And remember, with that humidity, it's going to make it feel even hotter out there. So warming up through the weekend, with those lower 90s, getting up to even 94 here on Monday. We're mainly dry. We're mentioning still that less than 20% chance for an isolated shower. But look at Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday. Those days have the red bars over them, and then the real big banner there that says weather impact alert. It's not because of storms, not because of severe weather. This alert is in effect because of the high heat there, with those temperatures at 96 Tuesday, 97 Wednesday, 96 Thursday, and 95 on Friday. But again, feeling like it's around 100 or higher due to the humidity that's going to be building in. So we just want you to be prepared, want you to be ready for this first heat wave of the season. We know we're still going to have more hot weather ahead. We may not issue an alert every time we get up to 96 degrees. It all depends on the humidity with it and how hot it makes it feel. And we'll wait and see if the National Weather Service will issue any heat advisories with that as we get closer to it. So thank you for watching this extended weather update on 11 Alive Plus and 11 Alive Weather Impact 24/7. Y'all have a great night and a great weekend too.